Hello, EKN Nation. Welcome to another edition of the EKN Debrief here on the EKN Radio Network. My name's Rob Howden, joined as always by David Cole as we jump into episode number 49 of the Debrief. We're almost to the number 50, almost to the half century. It's June the 18th, 2019. We are well into the 2019 racing season. David Cole back in his offices in Grand Rapids, Michigan. It's time to do the breakdown, the report from the 2019 USPKS Carolina Grand Prix from GoPro Motorplex in Mooresville, North Carolina. This week's show presented by the Alan Rudolph Racing Academy. If you want to improve your results, it's time for professional instruction and coaching at the Alan Rudolph Racing Academy. Located at the state-of-the-art Speed Sports Racing Park just north of Houston, the Alan Rudolph Racing Academy offers custom coaching programs for newcomers and experienced racers alike. Train with a champion with over 30 years of racing experience to get proven results. Get ready for the big races by training with the best. Reserve your dates now by calling 866-607-RACE. That's 866-607-7223. All right, David Cole, there's the intro. 2019 United States Pro Kart Series Carolina Grand Prix at GoPro Motorplex. You were back trackside after a nice little 5-week kind of break at home to spend some time with the family. But, man, we're firing things back up again. And you were down there. You ran quarterback for the EKN Trackside live coverage at GoPro.
Yeah, good to be back at the racetrack, as you said. With a little bit of a break from spring nats until now was my break. Got to see a lot of baseball, so that was good. Got to do some yard work, which sometimes can be good, but it was good to get in the heat because, as we know, it hasn't been exactly warm here in the northern hemisphere. So,
how was it down there, anyways?
You know, the temperature was warm all weekend long. Temperatures were in the 80s every day. Thankfully, no rain was a threat throughout the weekend, so that's my first weekend of the year with no precipitation.
Yeah, you kind of, because you were becoming the rainmeister.
I was.
They were, everywhere you went, it was going to rain at least one time.
And typically, every year we go to GoPro with the United States Pro Kart Series, we're going to get some type of rain, and I think this is one of the first times, even in those summer June events that we've done in the last, I believe, 3 years now, we've gotten some type of rain, whether it be overnight or during the event itself with the hot humidity, but nothing this year. So it was good.
David, second event of the season for the USPKS, of course, kicking things off in Ocala back in April with the Southern Grand Prix. We've talked about this a lot, but the move for the USPKS to 3 races, just the 3 races in April, June, and I believe, is it late July? Wow, great numbers, and they really settled into something great, I think.
Less is more. That's kind of one of the things I was going to talk about later, but they had 4 races to begin with when the program opened up, and just because of the number of events that go on throughout the 12 months of the year here and just in the United States alone is growing, and it's growing more and more with just one-offs, different series, different one-off events here and there for other engine platforms. And so the less is equaling more, and dropping them down to 3 last year helped grow the series back as far as numbers. And now this year it's hitting record numbers.
That's awesome. Let's talk about some of those numbers as well. Almost 180 total entries on the weekend?
Almost 180. Yeah, they were above the 180 mark and then dropped down after a couple of cancellations, but it set a new record number for a weekend, beating the 178 mark that was set back at 2015 at GoPro. So by one entry, they were able to set that new mark.
David, let's say this. When I say 179 entries, let's say 179, 180 entries, I'm not talking like normally people say, hey, we had 100 and this many entries, and they're counting the 2 days. Like 180 isn't 90 and 90. This is 180, meaning 180 and 180. We're talking 358 overall entries over the 2 days.
Yeah, if you look at it that way, we back in the day, we used to count the total number of entries for the whole weekend because we used to have the light and heavy categories and stuff like that. So now we've kind of just gone with, there's this many entries in this class for the weekend. Yeah, we did have, maybe a person leave on Saturday because of something happening, but whatever the largest number of that weekend on one of the days was the number that we calculated in. Like X30 Master, a guy wasn't there Sunday, but he was entered on the weekend, but showed up to race one day. So it's that type of situation. But yeah, the numbers, we'd like to go with drivers, but it'd be down a little bit more because obviously we have a number of drivers doing both, especially in the junior categories, doing both X30 and KA100.
Yeah. And looking at the numbers, David, X30 Pro, always good to see, the big senior numbers. One of the things I've watched over the 25 years I've been doing this is, watching series kind of at the ebbs and flows. Anytime a series ends up focusing too much, I believe, on the junior categories and not making the seniors the stars, it starts to lose momentum because drivers don't, feel the need to move to that senior category because they've already been the stars of the series when they're running in junior. USPKS, SCUSA Pro Tour, some of the major programs, it's still the seniors that are the superstars. And man, to see 38 guys down there, that's solid. Anytime you're over 30 is great, but 38 big for X30 Pro.
Yeah, and it was starting to die down a little bit in 16, but thankfully the numbers have gone back above 30. And I think if you look over the span of the series for the 7 years that they've had, the X30 Pro or IAME Pro or IAME Senior category has typically had an average of about 25 to 30 drivers every event. So it's just, that the limited schedule helps, get people there. And then when you start seeing the talent that fills up that number, makes even more people want to go and compete.
David, you mentioned the number 25 being an average there at one point for X30 Pro. That was actually the overall average, essentially 25.5 drivers per category. Micro Swift was 16, Mini Swift with a nice round 30, X30 Junior 29, X30 Pro, as David had mentioned, 38. X30 Masters was 17, and the KA100 Junior and Senior 22 and 27, respectively. Pretty nice, David, when 16 and 17 are your smallest categories, essentially, in your youngest and your oldest classes, Micro Swift and X30 Master.
Yeah, the Masters category, it might have been one of the smaller ones, but it was the most dramatic ones throughout the weekend. So, numbers don't always equate to exciting racing, because that definitely wasn't the case in X30 Master. And the Micro Swift, anytime with the youngest category there, you're always going to see things happening lap after lap with, you never know what's going to happen with them as well.
So there you have it. That's the initial overview of the USPKS Carolina Grand Prix that took place just a week ago at GoPro Motorplex, actually this past weekend. As David had said, really nice temperatures, mid-80s. Surprising for a David Cole-attended event, no rain, but record numbers as they went just a little bit more, one or two entries more than GoPro back in 2015. 179 total entries after getting over 180 at one point, but dropping down to 179. After we come back from this break, folks, we're going to go into the paddock pass. David Cole's going to give us some of the information that he picked up walking through the paddock and what happened outside the racetrack. But stay with us. More to come as the 49th episode of the EKN Debrief, back after this message. In racing, experience is priceless. Franklin Motorsports is a leader in the karting industry with over 50 years of combined karting experience. And we can provide you with everything you need to go racing. With a large online product selection, select track support events, and a wide variety of shop services, Franklin Motorsports is your complete karting source. Check out our online store at franklinkart.com, where all of our products are just a mouse click away and we ship daily. We're constantly adding new products to our online store, so keep checking back. We specialize in IAME engines, tilt seats, and of course, our championship-winning Merlin chassis. In our online store, you'll find molecule cleaning products, minus 273 racing gloves, micron gauges and components, and both MG and Bridgestone tires. If you're ready to take your racing to the next level, come and join us at Team FMS. We've been supplying racers with start-to-finish support at race events for many years, from providing a helping hand on a weekday test outing or at a club event, to full arrive and drive packages at the highest level of karting competition. We're 2019, we'll be attending the SuperKarts USA Winter Series, WK Manufacturers Cup, United States Pro Kart Series, and the Route 66 Kart Racing Series. And we'd love to have you under our tent at Merlin Nation. For all things karting, visit franklinkart.com. Are you looking for a new kart shop? One that treats you like you're an important customer? If so, look no further than Acceleration Kart Racing. At Acceleration, customer service is number one. We are a full-time karting business, not a hobby or an afterthought. We have all the products you're looking for, from kit karts to shifters, safety to speed. We strive to offer our customers the best products, prices, and service. At Acceleration Kart Racing, we're always here when you need something for your racing program. Located in Las Vegas, Acceleration is stocked with a wide range of products. We've been helping racers get the right parts for over 16 years. Acceleration has everything that a kart racer needs, from turnkey karts to safety equipment, engines, and more, stocking all of the leading kart racing brands. Here's a taste of the products that we carry every day. CRG, Tony Kart, Bennett, Rotax, Honda, Miami, MG Tires, Vinco, Bridgestone, Mojo, Alpine Stars, Sparco, Ribtech, and EVS, Tillett, Micron, Alfano, Bell, Arai, Zamp, KG, Sniper, SweetTech, and K&N. It doesn't matter where you live in the country. We will get you what you need so you can get back on the track. Acceleration has a sufficient supply of products to ensure that your order can be shipped the very same day. Our knowledgeable staff is available to help customers 6 days a week, and ordering online is open 24 hours a day at shopakr.com. For visitors and locals in the Las Vegas area, Acceleration has a large showroom full of the best kart racing products available. Come on in and check it out. To find out more about what Acceleration has to offer, visit shopakr.com. Again, shopakr.com. And make sure to sign up to be on our mailing list to receive the latest updates and promotions that we send throughout the season. Again, we're a one-stop shop. shopakr.com.
If you want to drive the best, drive a CRG. Our countless race wins and championships prove this fact, including taking the KZ Finals at the SCUSA Super Nationals and the CIK World Championships in both 2016 and 2017. Our material is second to none. After years of independent American importers, CRG is now managed directly by the factory and run out of our state-of-the-art headquarters in Texas. CRG Nordam is the American arm of the CRG factory in Italy, and we're serious about success. We stock a wide variety of parts in all of our chassis, from the CRG Hero for the mini categories, to the Heron for tag racing, the Road Rebel for gearbox competition, and the new FS4, which has been designed specifically for American 4-cycle Briggs racing. If you're ready to step up to the national level, do it with a factory race team that competes across the USA. CRG Nordam is a full factory effort with the best personnel and the finest equipment. We're serious about winning, and you should be too.
Welcome back to the EKN Radio Network. My name is Rob Howden, joined by David Cole as we set into an EKN Debrief report from the USPKS event this past weekend at the Carolina Grand Prix. The event, the midway point of the USPKS series. And again, GoPro Motorplex in Mooresville, the host for the event. Jumping now into the Paddock Pass, David Cole is going to give us some information that happened away from the track itself. This edition of the Paddock Pass presented by MG Tires. As a Brazilian company founded in 1989, MG Tires soon became one of the main kart tire manufacturers in the world. MG develops its products with the needs of all drivers in mind, from beginners to the most experienced, always focusing on quality and high performance. Kartsport North America is the importer and distributor of MG Tires, supplying and supporting the spec tire programs in series such as the United States Pro Kart Series, Route 66 Sprint Series, and the Sunshine State Karting Challenge. For more information on MG Tires, contact Eric Jones at Kartsport North America. All right, David, as I said, you are quarterbacking today. You are the man for EKN trackside, you and Eric Brennan doing the play-by-play. What did you pick up paddock pass wise?
Well, before we talk about what happened trackside, we would like to send our thoughts with series owner Mark Coates, who was not in attendance on the weekend. His brother had passed away on Wednesday and decided to stay with the family throughout the weekend. Obviously, our thoughts were with him and his family, but the crew, the USPKS crew, they continued on with no hiccups, as they should, because Mark, again, is one of those promoters who has their people in position to do their job, and they do their job very well.
Yeah, sorry to hear that about Mark and the family. Of course, as you said, everyone here at EKN sending their condolences and best wishes to the family. And again, not surprising that the team was able to pick up and go. When you put the right people in the right place, the promoters are able to step back. We've seen that in so many different programs. Just you hire people to do the job, get out of the way, and let them do it.
That's exactly it. And, it's kind of, they've gotten all the people in the right positions to do what they do, and they know what they need to do. There's obviously some things they could probably improve on, and they know that. It's just, it takes time because there's only those 3 races. And, it's a little bit different from the Route 66 program that they do regionally. So, as they go from event to event, they take notes on what works and what's not, and move forward. So they continue doing a great job with that.
David, off the top of the overview, you talked about the big numbers. And I think, numbers pull numbers. The more people you get, the more people that are going to come. And it's strong. It's good for our sport to be able to have 30, 40 plus fields, right? Because that means it's working. That means people are coming out and having a good time. And I think that you can probably talk about the fact that there was probably some pretty good energy in the paddock surrounding the numbers that they drew for GoPro.
Well, that was just it. The big numbers provided a little bit of an excitement just sitting in the paddock and during Friday, because that's really when I got to kind of walk around a little bit. People were excited with how big the turnout was. Obviously, with the local contingent there being so strong, that helps build the numbers, because they do have a lot of locals that actually come out and race the big events that come into their racetrack. It's something we're not seeing a lot when we go to other big races. There's not a lot of local contingent that come out and take on the traveling programs that come through their racetrack. But GoPro is one of those. I think there's a lot of people there just love to compete. As I'm going to talk about later, they'll compete in anything, whether it's racing or bags or one of the problems that we did have throughout the paddock were kids racing their scooters. We had an incident. Where a kid had an incident, smashed his face in the ground, lost a number of teeth, and so now we're parking. They're parking anything that has wheels on it, bikes, scooters, anything. Even if you're an adult, the only thing they finally allowed were a golf cart if you were a licensed driver. So it's competition really is streaming throughout the paddock. You can tell that because the kids want to beat each other in whatever it is. It doesn't matter what it is.
Well, I'm glad to hear them shut it down. So many programs around the country are shutting down all skateboards, scooters, and that really has to be the case. I think you're right, especially when you hear that somebody got hurt. Now, one thing I want to jump on, David, and you talk and you say this all the time: less is more, right? The events that we go to, less is more. Look at the best attended races in 2019 so far, the best attended series, right? Even over the last couple of years. USPKS, 3 races. SCUSA Pro Tour, 3 races. SCUSA Winter Series, 3 races. Florida Winter Tour, 3 races. Is that the magic number right now? 3?
Challenge in the Americas, 3 race weekends.
Challenge in the Americas, 3 race weekends.
Essentially, Rock Cup USA with Florida Winter Tour, they have 3 race weekends. If you count their festivals along with the Rock the Rio program, it's 3 events that they have as well too. The Rotax program is hosting 2 Stars and Stripes events this year, and then if you add in the RTX karting event they had in Houston, that's 3 Rotax races on the year.
And David, with a super crowded landscape of 2-cycle competition, I think that's the case. When you go to 4-cycle, there's not, the Cup Karts North America, I think, has 5 races this year. The Ignite Karting Challenge was 5 races. I think you can do that when it's a more localized, regional series. But on this national level, in 2-cycle racing, where it's such a crowded platform, it just seems like that 3 race mark is what's doing it right now.
But even the Cup Karts North America cut down their program because they actually had 10 races last year. Now they're down to 5.
They had 2 different regions. You're right. Yeah.
So that the less is more, because you might have to travel a couple extra hours to go to a couple of events, but really, it in the long-term goal, you're leaving your house less. And that's
Agreed.
always a positive thing. And it allows you to stay home and race. It allows you to go to a club track. It allows you to go on a vacation. Hell, we'll go to the beach one weekend, come on.
What?
Well,
what?
I'm waiting for the weather to get warmer.
True. I know. I know that. Now, okay, let's talk a little bit about the racing itself. I know this is Paddock Pass, but let's just talk overall. In your, you're up in the tower, you're watching every race, or you're, on in the middle of the racetrack, taking the photos that we use in your social media postings and on, our EKN Trackside Live coverage. Overall, what were your thoughts on the racing itself?
I think overall, it was mostly clean. The pushback bumper does continue to help with that. But again, I think overall, people are moving towards, a more positive attitude when it comes to aggressiveness. We're not seeing a lot of bad people putting themselves in bad situations. It's not 100%. Again, It's not 100% because we did see a couple bad moves. I won't say, who did it a couple of times in one day, but no. Just when you have bigger numbers, it kind of tends to lead to a little bit more contact, because you do want to get more positions in a less amount of time than you typically would in smaller fields. So, numbers do kind of increase, kind of turn up the heat as far as, more aggressive-ness and the adrenaline. So, and it starts to set
patience, right? The lack of patience a lot of times.
And essentially the starts were a little bit more aggressive, I think, this time around with the size of the fields that we did have. And I guess, it's going off the track as well too, because we've had a number of incidents where we were getting parents and mechanics in the mini Swift categories barking at each other and nearly coming to blows. So that's something that we're going to definitely have to continue to watch. And really, I think if people do end up coming to blows, we're really going to have to see some stiff penalties being laid down.
Yeah, my stance on that. If anybody comes to blows, if there's any kind of physical altercation, in me, it's a 1 year penalty, 1 year suspension, because we're here to have a good time. We're here to have fun. The kids are out there having fun racing each other. There's just absolutely no place in my position. There's absolutely no place for any kind of physical contact at all between parents or mechanics. That's if that, for me, it's a very swift penalty, and you shut it down quickly, because all you got to do is penalize a couple of guys, suspend them for a year. You are not allowed here, and it usually ends. So that's my thought, at least. Hey, so looking at your notes here, and I'm a little bit jealous because, man, I would like to have gone out there with you. But the competition, as you said, spilling over from the racetrack, you guys ended up at Millbridge Speedway on Saturday night. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I was talking with a couple of people Friday, and they were mentioning how guys were going to end up heading over to Millbridge on Saturday. They had a special Saturday night show.
Fill everybody in.
Typically, Millbridge does a Wednesday night big show. They got outlaw carts and basically caged carts with clone engines on them for kids. And so they have big shows Wednesday night. They have a lot of NASCAR people involved in it. Kyle Larson, a couple other, dirt track natives that go out to hit Millbridge Speedway. It's a little bit out, 15 minutes away from GoPro. So it's kind of out in the middle of nowhere, but that's typically how dirt tracks typically are. So really cool to see banked dirt oval, a lot of exciting racing. I believe there were about 5 of the Nitro kids that actually went out and raced. Sebastian NG was actually one of them, and he actually transferred into the main event and then was able to avoid all the carnage that was going on in his race and was able to win a green-white checkered finish. So got to grab a
awesome
victory there. But also Kart Sport North America driver Brent Cruz, who races one of the outlaw karts, which is those basically 500cc powered
rockets
that are just, it's like watching the World of Outlaws on a miniaturized scale. essentially. And, basically these karts they're very much like oval karts, but they just have the cage and the wings on top of them.
I think actually Phantom Racing Chassis is starting to build them. I think I saw the
Phantom Racing Chassis was one of them. There's another one called SKE.
Okay.
And I believe I'm not sure if that's what Brent Cruz was racing on or not. There might have been another chassis that he runs. I couldn't remember exactly.
There's probably some QRC karts out there as well, I would expect.
There are, QRC. That might be the QRC car that he was running. So
that's awesome. So obviously you got 5 nitro drivers running at Millbridge as well. Was there a lot of people that you saw from the track came over to watch?
Yeah, a number of them. Jace Park and his dad actually helped me get in because I didn't have any cash there. So I do have to thank them. Wow. I was about ready to head down to wherever I could find an ATM out in the middle of nowhere. And just, I didn't even think about it because I had to get there before the racing started at 8 o'clock. So
that's funny. Okay.
But so they were there. A number of people, obviously, under the Nitro tent were there as well, too. And so I think that was about it. I talked to a number of people on Sunday about it, and they're like, man, I wish I would have known. So, hopefully next time, if we are out there at GoPro, we'll give a little bit of a notice to everybody that's there.
That's awesome. Anything else to wrap up this edition of the Paddock Pass presented by MG Tires?
Just one more thing. We did post a cool little slow-mo video on Sunday about the turn, I guess it would be turn 7. It's a double left-handers there. And it's always been a situation there that we've said a number of our podcasts, we've talked about track limits and this particular section of the racetrack kind of goes around that topic, and that they now have like what they call like little speed bumps outside of the rumble strips. And so, karts are just nailing this thing. And really talking to some drivers, if you hit it right, it really doesn't upset you or the kart itself. But when you're out there watching it, it looks like it's like a kart going over like a 10-foot jump. It's just so much, just so much movement within the driver and the chassis and the tires. And it just looks like it's like beating the crap out of you. Like you're in basically a 22 round fight. And every time you go through it, it's one punch. It's one punch. It's one punch. So, but it's been there. There's never really been anybody they do have some tech pros there to kind of keep them off from using it into the grass, but it is what it is there, kind of type situation. And so somebody, I believe it was Mark Taylor, questioned the track limits thing. And I'm like, well, I guess it's already been established over the years that that's part of the racetrack, but it's obviously something that they could look at that down in the future.
Copy. So, folks, there's David Cole giving you the Paddock Pass update, a bunch of interesting tidbits from the race itself at the track, at GoPro, and a little bit of information, some cool stuff from Millbridge Speedway as well. Again, Paddock Pass presented by MG Tires. After this break, David Cole's going to come back, and we're going to start into the race report, start chatting about the action that we saw on X30 Pro, X30 Junior, KA100 Senior, and KA100 Junior. That's the next segment coming up here on the EKN Debrief. Joining the Rawlson Performance Group is the obvious choice to take your racing to the next level. Industry-leading driver development is provided by our staff of multi-time national champions, Super Nationals winners, and former Team USA members. And at the same time, RPG continues to be a national-level powerhouse race team. Our goal is to help you raise your game and win races. Rawlson Performance Group is setting a new standard with our in-house engine program, AVP Engines, headed by Alex Vincent. AVP has become the benchmark in the IAME X30 categories. We have the largest trackside OTK inventory, providing parts to racers and teams at all the major events in North America. RPG can also offer multilingual support, as we have French and Portuguese-speaking staff. If you want to fight for championships or want to improve your skills and your chances to win, the answer is to call RPG at 503-260-4514. The Rawlson Performance Group. We race to win. If the dream is IndyCar, set your target on the road to Indy, presented by Cooper Tires. Our ladder system is designed to take drivers through 3 rungs of competition. The first step is the Cooper Tires USF 2000 Championship, which features a carbon tub Tatis chassis, 180 horsepower, and paddle shift sequential gearbox. Boost the USF 2000's output to 280 horsepower for the newly named Indy Pro 2000 program, the second rung of the road to Indy, formerly known as Pro Mazda. Add in increased grip and aero downforce, and the Tatis PM18 becomes an incredible racing machine. The final step before IndyCar is the Indy Lights Championship presented by Cooper Tires. The Dallara IL-15 boasts a whopping 450 horsepower. This car itself has helped train a third of the grid expected for the 2019 IndyCar Series. At all 3 levels, you race at premier venues on the same dance card as IndyCar. Showcase your skills under the watchful eyes of IndyCar scouts and owners. The program is unprecedented around the world, offering the opportunity to climb the ladder with over $2 million in scholarships to the champions in USF 2000, Indy Pro 2000, and Indy Lights. Former Carters fill the roster of Road to Indy graduates in IndyCar like Spencer Pigot, Zach Veach, Jack Harvey, Ed Jones, Matthias Laced, Felix Rosenquist, Colton Herta, and 2018 Indy Lights champion Pato O'Ward. Recent graduates like Kyle Kirkwood are in the middle of their journeys right now as well. Follow in their footsteps. If you want to race IndyCar, there's only one choice. The Road to Indy, presented by Cooper Tires. The shift is on to a new brand and a new way of thinking. Mad Old Nut Racing and Croc Promotion USA are focused on changing the paradigm when it comes to race teams in this sport. And the goal is to support dedicated young racers by giving them the tools and opportunities to succeed. Originally born as Mad Croc, the new branding is Croc Promotion, and Armando Fellini's product continues its dedication to quality and innovation. Croc Promotion USA is the American importer and distributor, and Mad Old Nut Racing is the official race team. We're ready to attack in 2019, and our race results speak for themselves. AJ Myers swept the first 4 Winter Series shifter kart races of the year, and Andrew Bedozzo continues to assert himself as an emerging player. Croc Promotion has momentum. Dedicated and talented young drivers, supported and mentored by team owners who know business and who are passionate about karting. That's Croc Promotion USA. That's Mad Old Nut Racing. Search for us on social media and give us a follow. Welcome back to the EKN Debrief here on the EKN Radio Network. My name's Rob Howden, joined by David Cole. Episode number 49. It's June the 18th, 2019, the Tuesday following the running of the USPKS Carolina Grand Prix at GoPro Motorplex. Jumping now into the race report, which will be presented today by IAME USA East. IAME USA East is the East Coast distributor of the hottest 2-cycle engine program in American karting, featuring the SSE 175cc shifter, X30, KA100, and Swift engines, which can be found at club, regional, and national racing events. IAME USA East supports strong programs like the USPKS, WK Manufacturers Cup, F-Series Gear Up Challenge, Texas and Great Lakes Pro Kart Challenge, the Route 66 Kart Racing Series, and the Sunshine State Karting Challenge. Find info on all of their products and all of their dealers at IAMEUSAEast.com. All right, David, we talked about this at the very start. 38 drivers entered for X30 Pro. Let's have a look at how things rolled out on Saturday.
Saturday began as we saw last year with Brandon Jarzakrak out front, now driving with Mike Doty Racing aboard a Tony Kart. Jarzakrak set fast time in qualifying and won the pre-final, but the pre-final was hounded by Josh Green throughout the race. At the start of the main event, Green was able to jump out ahead into the lead and basically threw down some qualifying pace laps to drive away to a 7-second victory. Very impressive performance by Green in the main event. Essentially behind him was a battle for second that ended up being won by Blake Hunt, getting past Jarzakrak there for a podium finish for Blake Hunt. So basically OTK 1, 2, 3 in Saturday.
Always cool to see someone kind of breaking out and getting that first big USPKS win, and for Green to be able to get out front like he did, Jarsakrak knowing that track so well, that's a pretty impressive performance for Green.
It was. I mean, just a lap pace that he was putting down to not only get away early, but to maintain that lead and increase it throughout the 24 lap main event was pretty phenomenal.
Nicely done. Moving on to Sunday, more of the same.
Well, it was more of the same for Jarsakrak because, again, he started out the day fast time in qualifying, winning the pre-final. And then, once again, in the final, was able to get a good start and maintain the lead and led wire to wire with about 4 drivers on his bumper throughout the entire race. But just waiting for him to make a mistake, but no mistake for Jarsakrak to earn basically his first victory of the season in the series.
Yeah, Brandon, since joining up with Mike Doty Racing once again, where he kind of got things started, really has kind of set up. But man, what a weekend for Mike Doty Racing with both Jarsakrak and Green bagging 4 total podiums and 2 race wins.
Yeah, 4. Yeah, definitely big. And then not to mention, I believe Paulie Massimino, who joined the team this weekend, was 4th, and then Austin McCusker was right there in the top 5 as well. But
really?
Blake Hunt, yeah,
wow.
But Blake Hunt grabbing another runner-up victory, making another OTK 1, 2, 3. So good double podium performance in the X30 Pro category for Hunt.
Yeah. So wrap up things for X30 Pro. What do we got money-wise? What do we got point-wise? Anything else you want to add?
First, just to mention it, that Jarsakrak did dedicate the victory to Lance Fenderson, who was recently injured in a lacrosse game. Fenderson, a former driver at the USBKS program, as well as a teammate of Jarsakrak for some time. Is recovering and doing some physical therapy down in Atlanta as he continues to mend with his spinal cord injury.
Yeah, so I'm really sad to hear that about Lance, but class move for Jarsakrak dedicating his win to Lance. That's great.
Yeah, and so Jarsakrak ended up winning the tiebreaker on because him and Green tied, I believe, for points on the weekend, and Jarsakrak was able to win the tiebreaker, taking home the $2,500 payday, giving Green the $1,250 for second, and then Blake Hunt with his 2 runner-up finishes earned $750.
That's big money. That's $2,500 is a pretty good payday.
Definitely $9,000 over X30 Pro and X30 Junior were handed out on the weekend. So $9,000 per weekend. It's a good total for the 3 events.
All right, what are we looking at with points right now? Obviously, it's a 3 weekend, 6 race deal. We're 66% of the way through. 4 of the races done. Just the finale coming at the end of July. What are we looking at points wise?
Essentially, it's down to 2 drivers, with Josh Green now leading in the championship chase, earning 3 straight podium finishes, including his first podium of the year in Ocala. So he got 3 straight podiums. He's leading the championship over Jarsakrak by 72 points. Round 2 winner Zachary Hollingshead is sitting there in third, about 225 points out. So he's going to need a little bit of help to get back into it.
David, bring me and the EKN Nation up to speed. Is there a drop, or do you count all 6 races for USPKS?
No, USPKS is straight up.
Yes. I like it. Good. Solid. All right, let's move into X30 Junior. First off, of course, congratulations to both Josh Green and Brandon Jarsakrak for their X30 Pro wins at GoPro Motorplex. How about X30 Junior? Again, a pretty good field of 29 drivers.
A very good field. A number of talented drivers making up the field on the weekend, but it seemed to be the same number of same names towards the top throughout the weekend. Brent Cruz, obviously racing at his home track, was able to set the pace in qualifying and then won the pre-final. But it ended up being a great battle in the end, with Jeremy Fletcher using the outside line in the bull corner down that where you really can't see. So luckily we were in the tower, we were able to see this, but Fletcher went on the outside as Cruz and Simpson held the inside line, trying to run the defensive line. And basically Fletcher's tires held through the marbles and came around from third to first, and then held on through the final two corners to score his first victory.
That's big. I like that. You run the bottom line, someone runs the rim out in the cushion. I dig it. That's good.
Yeah, big win for Fletcher. His first in X30 Junior, but second on the year as he won at Ocala and KA 100 Junior. Simpson ended up coming across in second, with Cruz running an FA kart with Kart Sport North America in third.
Okay. Moving on to Sunday. Again, looking at some of your notes here, looks like we had some of the same drivers in the fight, but Connor Zilic in there as well.
Yeah, Connor Zilic was there as well on Saturday, but it was actually a thrown chain. Again, the track limits where we saw a number of drivers, including Zilic, was one of them that happened, I think, twice, losing a chain on the weekend. Cruz was another one as well, too, as he set fast time in qualifying, but in the pre-final lost a chain coming out of that section.
In the corner, David, in the corner you were talking about?
Exactly, in the corner I was talking about.
Yeah, there it is.
So again, like I said, when you're going over something that looks like a 10-foot motocross jump,
the whoops,
the whoops, you might lose a chain.
Wow. Okay.
So with Cruz DNFing in the pre-final, Zilic was able to come out on top and kept the chain on it, and then again kept the chain on in the main event. Ended up battling with Cruz, who came up from 20th on the grid to fight Zilic for the victory. They scuffled it out for the in the last few corners, allowing John Burke to come in and kind of steal second as Zilic secured the victory, and then dropping Cruz down to the third spot.
You just throw out the names, David, here in the X30 junior category, and you're looking at some of the best juniors in the sport right now. Jeremy Fletcher, Kiffin Simpson, Brent Cruz, John Burke, Connor Zilic. That's a stacked field in junior.
Very stacked field. And then coming out the winner, though, money-wise, because, again, we had a number of ties. I believe the top four guys were tied overall for points because of the way things shook out. Fletcher ended up winning the tiebreaker, earning the $2,500 payday. Cruz ending up second overall, with Burke taking home the third-place money.
So where are we on points then? We obviously will do this because, again, we're two-thirds of the way through with each category. You'll give us a little update on the points. How are we looking in the title fight for X30 Junior?
Right now, Burke is the only driver to have 3 podium finishes on the year, and that's equating him to the championship lead as he leads now over Kiffin Simpson by 88 points, with Brent Cruz sitting there third, 99 points back.
Couple of decent leads. Of course, Green by 72 over Jarsakrak and X30 Pro, and Burke over Simpson by 88 points. This is going to be interesting when they head to rounds number 5 and 6 at Newcastle. All right, David, let's move now into the KA 100 senior class, because I believe we ended up with a first-time winner as well there.
We ended up with, one first-time winner.
Saturday.
But Saturday first ended up championship leader Blake Hunt, who moved over to the Tony Kart brand, as we saw in May, after running DR Kart in Ocala, leaving there as a champion or championship leader, winning at his home track on Saturday. Brooke Nachman, a local driver, set fast time in qualifying, but it was Texan Austin Osborne who won in the pre-final. And again, this category was tight, as the lead pack was anywhere between 5 to 8 drivers throughout the weekend, be it the pre-final or final. But Saturday, Blake Hunt was able to edge out Brooke with a last lap pass in what was a wild main event to begin with things shaking up early on, as Josh Holtz jumped out to lead early, but Nachman and Hunt ran him down, and Hunt getting the victory with a last lap pass. Nachman ended up second, and then Holtz held on to finish third.
I always like last lap passes. That's, as an announcer, that is what you're hoping for. Something exciting like that. Again, working our way through the race report here from the USPKS event, the Carolina Grand Prix at GoPro. This brought to you by IAMI USA East. David, let's wrap up this first kind of half of our race report section with a look at look at Sunday's event in the K100 senior class.
Yeah, Nachman missing out on that victory really kind of sparked her up for Sunday as she came back pretty much determined and swept the day to earn her first ever series victory. Set fast time in qualifying, won the pre-final, and then again was just able to kind of just outmuscle and then run away with the lead in the main event as they fought for second behind her. Matthew Maccabee ended up winning that battle in the Kart Republic, finishing second with kart sales, and Blake Hunt earning his fourth podium on the weekend with a win, 2 seconds, and a third.
For Nachman, it sounds like just looking and listening to you, and looking at the times as I was watching it through live timing and listening to Eric's play-by-play on the weekend, sounds like they just made the right changes on Saturday night to come out of the box swinging with elbows up on Sunday.
It was actually Tim, not Eric.
Oh, that's right. Pardon me, Tim. Sorry. So give me the update on.
Just
on
want to
Nachman.
make sure we gave Tim Coyan the credit for.
I keep thinking about this weekend's WK race coming up because we just did the reads for that one.
No,
so
I mean she's fast every session. It's just I think the K100 category is so tight that it's all about consistency, and she was able to keep that consistency throughout the main event. And again, them fighting for second really helped her get away, just gave her enough cushion to where she wasn't challenged in the last few laps.
Do you remember where she qualified on pole on Saturday as well? So the speed's obviously there, which is good.
No, yeah, that's why I said she was one of the fastest drivers all weekend long. The difference is she wasn't able to hold off Hunt on that last lap battle on Saturday. Basically had it, but just wasn't able to hold him on that last lap. Sunday was a different story because she was able to keep those consistent laps to stay out front while they battled behind her for second.
Like I say, I always like to see a first time winner, especially at a big USPKS deal. I know that the excitement was there. I saw something on Facebook. I think her dad was losing his mind on the fence when she went across the line. I just love seeing that stuff.
Yeah, I was expecting more of a celebration by her, but she was a true professional and just gave the old good fist pump.
I like that. All right. Again, for all the categories, looking at the points, what do we got going here for points wise? Because it sounds to me like you mentioned how consistent Hunt has been. So a pretty good lead right now.
Yeah, 3 podium finishes for Blake. So he maintains the championship lead, leading over Josh Holtz, who has 2 podium finishes of his own. The gap there is 99 points with Emery Lida sitting in third, 197 points back. So he's going to need some help in Newcastle if he wants to challenge these guys for the title.
Yeah, as you can see, as David's kind of giving us the update on all the points, it's that consistency you have to have. When you bang out 4 or 3 straight podiums, man, that really puts you into the right place. And we'll see more of it in KA100 Junior as well. David, let's cap off this section with that look at KA100 Junior.
Yeah, KA100 Junior was another tight battle up front all weekend long because, again, that engine package just really emphasizes being consistent and being quick. Connor Zillage set out the fast time in qualifying, won in the pre-final as well. It was another great battle in the main event, but again, Zillage had a chain come off on that race, so he had to watch as Brent Cruz went on to score the victory, beating out Hayden Jones on the Nitro kart, and then Chloe Chambers, who is getting some online fame of being on the Netflix series with David Letterman and talking about the Lewis Hamilton bit.
Yeah, I saw that. That was interesting. So again, as you said, Cruz, we keep talking about consistency, right? That's what it takes to win a championship here in USPKS.
Yeah, second straight victory for him in the category. So definitely helped set him on the right path towards a championship. And Sunday's performance helped him as well, but coming up one spot short. Zillage set fast time in qualifying, and then Cruz went on to win the pre-final. But Weston Workman, the fast driver from Happy Hour on Friday, was able to put everything back together, speed-wise, and challenge both Cruz and Zillage for the victory. Great last lap battle between the 3 drivers, with Workman able to hold off Cruz and Zillage for his first series victory.
Did Workman lead like the penultimate lap? Did he lead coming across the white, or did he have to fight his way?
No, he fought his way. Again, last lap with the 3 drivers, they kind of went back and forth, all slotting for different positions. So probably 2 or 3 lead changes in the final lap, but Workman was able to come away with the victory.
Dude, that's awesome. How about the points in K100 Junior?
Well, as we said, Cruz has been consistent. 3 straight podium finishes for him. Gives him the championship lead as he leaves now over Weston Workman by 154 points, with Connor Zillage back by 194. So basically the title is in Cruz's hands. Basically just needs to get through Newcastle unscathed.
7 categories on the USPKS. When we get back after this break, we're going to talk about X30 Masters, Mini Swift, and David will wrap things up with Micro Swift. Again, the EKN Debrief, continuing after this break.
History, success, family. Those are the 3 words that describe Comet Kart Sales, one of the longest tenured karting businesses in the United States. The family-owned operation is located just outside of Indianapolis, and they have provided karts, parts, and services for thousands of racers throughout their near 6 decades of business. Comet's online store features everything you need, continually adding new parts to their product line. Comet Kart Sales attends dozens of karting events every year, offering trackside service for racers and families. Karting veterans Mark Dismore Jr. and Gary Lawson provide one-on-one driver coaching and tuning assistance for each trackside customer. The engine building business, Comet Racing Engines, has won countless major events and championships over decades of karting, and they continue to offer the best trackside service in the industry. Make sure you head to CometKartSales.com or call them at 317-462-3413 to be a part of the Comet Kart Sales family today.
Attention karters of the Midwest. Superkarts USA is back. The SKUSA Great Lakes Pro Kart Challenge kicked off the season on a high note with 2 events at Newcastle and Norway, and now we're looking forward to the next event at Road America on June 29 and 30. Road America is America's National Park of Speed, and the newly repaved C-Tech Manufacturing Motorplex is one you won't want to miss. This is your chance to run all the SKUSA categories in X30, KA100, Mini, and Micro Swift, and of course, it's SKUSA where SKUSA was born. The shifter karts will be front and center. The Great Lakes Pro Kart Challenge will be your place in the Midwest to race stock Honda, KZ, and the awesome new IAME SSE 175cc shifter. Finally, Midwest racers can compete in a SKUSA regional series, and if it's your goal, prepare for the National Pro Tour. Follow Superkarts USA's newest regional program on Facebook at SKUSA Great Lakes PKC and on Instagram at SKUSA Great Lakes. Cometic Gasket is a leading worldwide supplier of gaskets and engine sealing solutions for karting, automotive performance, power sports, original equipment, and the remanufactured engine industries. Cometic karting gaskets are available as OE replacement top-end kits or as individual gaskets and seals. Just like competitive karters, Cometic can operate on the fly and has a unique capability to customize any gasket to meet specific engine requirements and clearances. All of Cometic's fiber materials are asbestos-free and do not require any additional sealants. Viton oil ring cylinder head seals are used in each 2-cycle kit, and Cometic's 4-cycle engine kits feature only the most advanced multi-layer steel head gaskets. Cometic can tailor to engine builder-specific needs through bulk ordering and packaging flexibility. Cometic gaskets are must-haves for championship-winning teams across multiple disciplines of both professional and amateur motorsports. Cometic Gasket, sealing championships since 1989. Welcome back to episode number 49 of the EKN Debrief. David Cole giving us a full report on the United States Pro Kart Series event at GoPro Motorplex, the midway point of the seasons, rounds number 3 and 4, the Carolina Grand Prix. Today's show presented by the Alwyn Rudolph Racing Academy. David, jumping back into the race report here, X30 Master, you had mentioned earlier that we talked about the fact that I think it was one of the lower categories in terms of numbers with 17, but no shortage on excitement. That's for sure.
No shortage on excitement, and really it started before the weekend got there because we were able to welcome Max Pappas to the event. A very established professional racer living out of the Mooresville area, has the MPI company that does a lot of steering wheels and other accessories for racing and motorsports. Really focused on doing that and driver coaching and spotting as well. A man of all trades, Max Pappas.
IndyCar steward as well. He's one of the 3 stewards at the IndyCar races
there
as well.
There you go. See that I forgot about that as well too. So, so it was great to see him, and he started off the weekend strong, setting fast time in qualifying. But Scott Kopp ended up being the driver to beat on Saturday, winning the pre-final, and then walking away with the victory on Saturday with fast laps of the race in his innovative Esprit. Wow. A little bit of contact in the opening corner of the main event sent Scott Roberts off the track. So Roberts was the top challenger basically throughout the day, but he was a DNF on that race. That allowed Darren Marcus to knife his way up to the second spot with defending champion Laurentiu Mardan in the Techno finishing third.
Now, looking at your notes, David, you mentioned pushback bumper penalties kind of affecting the top 5 a little bit. Do you want to give us some input on that?
Yeah, Mardan was able to move up to third because of that. There was probably 4 or 5 drivers within the top 10 that had pushback bumper penalties. So part of it maybe because of the first turn contact that was going on, and then probably maybe some of it was during the race. But I think most of it came in that first opening corner contact.
I like seeing the names. Not surprising to see some of these guys up front. You know, Mardan's been a top driver in the SCUSA Pro Tour as well. Darren Marcus, a former Pro Tour driver back in the day in the S1 category, but we've seen him show great speed in this Masters class. Scott Kopp, not surprising to see Max Pappas quick. We know he loves that racetrack as well. Scott Roberts coming back a bit on Sunday. Give us a scoop on the Sunday action.
Yeah, Sunday was a bit chaotic. It was kind of the Sunday mayhem. That you typically see at those dual race weekends. With 2 rounds of racing. Kopp came back again, fast driver in qualifying, but didn't quite get the jump that he wanted to at the start of the pre-final. Wow, there was probably 5 or 7 guys there racing for the lead early on when some contact, including Roberts, Darren Marcus, Scott Kopp, Scott Carapoletti, among others, kind of shuffled up the field. Roberts was able to continue on, but finished like 9th. So did Darren Marcus. Kopp actually had a bent axle, so he was a DNF, had to come from the back in the main event. But after that all shook out, Laurentiu Mardan won the pre-final and led everybody down to the green flag for the main event. Got away to a good lead early on, but Scott Roberts just kind of knifed his way through the field, was able to run down Mardan and then drive away to his first victory of the season. Mardan ended up finishing in second with his Techno teammate Christian Vomier, beating out John Robichaux, Scott Kopp, and Max Pappas.
Yeah, impressive run for Scott Roberts. Again, one of the top Masters drivers in the country. Good to see him grab the win. But kudos to both Mardan and Vomier, the 2 Technokart USA guys. I know that they're, they just brought that but they brought the Techno chassis back essentially into competition here in the U.S. And good for them to get a couple of solid podium finishes there. Mardan, of course, on the podium both days. Now, David, in all the categories you've mentioned so far, when I asked you about points, you've talked about a lead between 70 and 100 points. Not so in X30 Masters.
Well, 70 points is a good number, but that includes the top 6 drivers.
That's crazy. Wow.
Well, you got 4 different winners and 4 different rounds.
I like that.
So all 4 of those drivers are in the hunt. You got David Galawina, who didn't quite have the GoPro weekend he wanted after winning the opening round in Ocala. He still remains the championship leader. Scott Roberts, obviously having a DNF on Saturday, didn't help his cause, but the victory on Sunday helped, so that puts him second, 5 points back. Scott Kopp sits third, winning on round 3 after a struggle at the round 2 in Ocala, but a couple of top 5 finishes only leaves him 11 points out of the lead. 1 point back at him is Laurentiu Mardan, who hasn't won yet, but is the defending champion. So we know he knows how to win. So that puts him in the hunt as well. And then you got round 2 winner Danny Robertson back by 60 points. And then Darren Marcus sitting back 71 points in 6th.
I love it because the bottom line is when you guys go to Newcastle for the finale, there's a bunch of guys that are going to be racing hard to try to make sure they get consistent finishes. You got Robertson and Marcus who are going to have to lay it all out there to get race wins. I think X30 Masters definitely going to be a class to watch at the finale.
Let's not forget that there might be some special guests there prepping for the Summer Nationals as well.
Very good point.
There might be guys like Wang or Cleveland or other potential spoilers that could be there.
Yeah. The race just a couple of weeks before the SCUSA Summer Nationals at Newcastle Motorsports Park, the finale of the Pro Tour. So David's very, very correct. Maybe add a couple of guest stars to make
spoilers, not stars, right. Spoilers.
You want to call them spoilers?
They're not stars. They're the spoilers.
All right. Let's go Mini Swift now, David. Again, a pretty solid field. 30 drivers in Mini Swift.
Yes, very, very competitive field. A lot of competitive juices flowing throughout the weekend, whether it be the drivers, but more so the mechanics and the adults that were trackside. But on track, really, it was really 2 drivers that kind of stood out throughout the weekend. On Saturday, it was Christian Miles. He was able to triumph on Saturday and get away late in the going and win his first race of the year and actually honor his late grandmother who passed away just days before the event. So a good victory by Christian Miles, winning over Parker DeLong and Cooper Shipman from Texas.
Based on your notes, Anderson Leonard qualifying on the pole in Mini Swift. Kai Sorensen ended up grabbing the pre-final victory, but was not able to get to the podium. Talk about Sunday now. This was more of a Kai Sorensen kind of run, qualifies on pole, and eventually able to work his way to the top of the box.
Yep, Sorensen just didn't quite have the pace on Saturday, had an issue. I believe he recorded, I'm looking that up right now because I forgot to write it in my notes. Had a DNF on Saturday, so was obviously in the mix on Saturday, but a DNF put him out of the running. Sunday, come again, winning fast or setting fast time in qualifying, but just missing out on the win in the pre-final, losing to Cameron Weinberg. They set the pace again early on. Christian Miles ended up charging his way to the front as he and Sorensen hooked up together and was able to get away from the field. And they basically decided the victory in the final lap with Sorensen putting a great move in the last corner on the last lap, basically parking it at the apex to not allow Miles to do the up and under. And they basically crawled to the finish line because of how well Sorensen pulled off the move and reached the checkered flag first over Miles. And then Max Garcia, the Kart Sport North America driver, coming home in third.
So let's look at the points here, because interesting that you've got a couple drivers who are really kind of pulling away, right? Christian Miles and Kai Sorensen, they've had a really good season from the get-go, right? They were both, I believe, race winners in the SCUSA race to start the season off, the first race of the year in January. And they've really both kind of picked up momentum and confidence heading into this weekend.
Yeah, I think this is Miles' first victory since Daytona, I believe so.
Okay.
Because I don't think he was able to he hasn't been able to win at any of the SCUSA races as well.
I thought he
maybe the Winter Series, but I wasn't there.
Okay. So give us the points.
Yeah.
Give us the points.
So Miles, with his victory and runner-up on the weekend, helped boost him up to the championship lead. As Sorensen, who has 3 podiums on the year, to Miles only 2, trails by 23 points. So that DNF really hurt Sorensen in the big picture of things. Michael Costella in the Benek is now 3rd in the points, back by 108 points.
So obviously a good battle shaping up for Newcastle for X30 Masters. Same goes for the Mini Swift category between Miles and Sorensen. David, let's wrap up this edition of the Race Report brought to you by IAME USA East as you cap off the race report for the Carolina Grand Prix, rounds number 3 and 4. of the USPKS. Let's move into Micro Swift.
Well, Texas driver James Moss started the weekend off with fast time in qualifying, but it was Ayrton Grimm who came away the victor on the day as he won the pre-final and then was able to hold off Moss on the final circuit of the main event to score his first series victory of the season. Moss ended up obviously second aboard his Bennick over behind Grimm's Nitro kart, with Nash Gerke in the Kart Republic finishing third.
So the first win, as you said, for Ayrton Grimm. Let's move into Sunday. How about the action on Sunday? Much of the same, or do we get a little different action?
Well, Saturday, Spencer Conrad, the double winner from Ocala, had a little bit of a chain issue as well, both in the pre-final and final. So that prevented him from finishing both races on the day. But Spencer Conrad came back on Sunday, actually coming back from another DNF in the not DNF, but getting shuffled back to 12th in the pre-final, knifing his way up through the field and was able to score the victory on Saturday. Top qualifier was James Moss once again. Ayrton Grimm won the pre-final as well again, so that helped earn them some points. But again, Spencer Conrad was able to knife his way up from 12th to score the victory over Jack Iliff, with Grimm finishing third for 2 podiums on the day.
So the interesting thing, David, when you talk about points, every time we've talked about something being tight or the gap not being massive, it's simply down to guys having DNFs, right? Guys having issues, and the same goes for Spencer Conrad. You said he's got great pace, but in the points heading towards Newcastle, he finds himself over 100 points behind Grimm, who leads the way. Yeah,
the 3 DNFs on the weekend certainly lost points for Conrad, as he lost points in both pre-finals as well as the main event on Saturday. So his 3 victories have him trailing Ayrton Grimm, who has 4 straight podium finishes by 104 points. So that the Newcastle weekend is going to be very critical for Conrad if he does hope to beat Grimm out in the championship standings. While Jack Iliff, who is still recovering from a broken wrist 2 weeks ago in Biloxi, sits there in third, earning a podium finish with his broken wrist.
Still a lot of action to come, folks. Rounds 5 and 6, the United States Pro Kart Series set to go at the end of July at Newcastle Motorsports Park. And again, David giving us the full race report. Again, this episode of the EKN Debrief brought to you by the Alan Rudolph Racing Academy. Time, though, to jump in, David, before I give you a chance to kind of wrap things up. We'll jump into the EKN Trackside Live race calendar, where we fill you in on where we're going to be over the next couple of weeks. This edition of the race calendar presented by Kart Republic and Kart Sport North America. The Kart Republic is here, and it's disturbing the status quo. Kart Sport North America is the country's importer and distributor of the Kart Republic chassis, and as a leader in American karting, they're focused on providing stability for the sport and quality products and service for the community. The Kart Republic senior and junior chassis are on fire, and so is the new mini kart, which has already won in SCUSA, USPKS, and WKA competition. For more information, contact Kart Sport North America, where they offer top quality products, winning brands, and professional driver development services. All right, David Cole, we've got a couple of races to go here in June and July, but we got a bit of a gap. It's just kind of interesting. You're going this weekend, so it's Tuesday right now. You're leaving Thursday or Friday?
I am leaving, Thursday, early Thursday morning.
Yeah, I think I looked today. My flight's 6:00 in the morning. I think yours is 8 in the morning on Thursday. I'm heading to Road America for the IndyCar and Road to Indy race. But David, you're heading to what is going to be a very cool event, the Charlotte Karting Challenge at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Of course, WK Manufacturers Cup is what we're going to be covering with EKN Trackside Live. But the road racing is there again, like it was back in the day, and they've got a cool dirt race going over at the dirt track as well.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see what the dirt track is going to look like, because, again, it's a revised, a temporary, basically, circuit inside the dirt track for karting. No kart track or kart race has ever been held inside that, so I think numbers are going to be wild and exciting, and I hope the racing is going to be just as well, too. And then, again, road racing comes back to Charlotte for the first time in over a decade, at least, that I can think of. So, it'd be interesting to see how that unfolds on the new Roval course that they have there. And then again, as we said, our live coverage will be focused around the Manufacturers Cup Sprint Series inside turns 1 and 2.
Now, our EKN Trackside Live coverage kind of splitting because essentially we have this weekend coming up. David's going to be, as we said, at Charlotte. Fast forward a month from then until our next EKN Live show, although David and I will be trackside midway through. But I'll be heading to the Texas Pro Kart Challenge event, rounds 3 and 4 at the Amarillo Kart Circuit in West Texas. Amarillo, of course, the scaled-down version of the F1 track in Istanbul, Turkey. That's July 19th, 2021. I'm looking forward to a good time with Mark and Gina French. Mark and I are going to be on the grill on Saturday night. He and I are going to be cooking dinner for everybody. And as it stands right now, I know I'm going to be running 206 Master. We might even try to see if we can get Mark French into the 206 Master class as well. They've added that class. They added a junior 206 category. Really excited to get back out to Amarillo. A great track, great people, and I always have fun with the guys from Texas Pro Kart Challenge. And what I was talking about, David, was, of course, in the middle there. We're not doing EKN Trackside Live. There's going to be lots of social media, though, for EKN. Alicia's Hodap's going to come and help us with that because, David, me and you, we're suiting up and we're racing at the Battle at the Brickyard, Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Yeah, I'm not working. I'm focused on winning.
That's it. That's all you're focused on.
Yep, that's all I'm going to be focusing on. But I do have a question about Amarillo. Who is going to announce if you're racing?
Well, we talked about trying to put a mic in the in my helmet while I'm driving, but
so they'll hear screeching and whining,
gasping for breath, and
cuss words.
No, I don't. Maybe I do swear at myself if I make mistakes. I don't know. We'll see.
And then but more importantly, yes, you trying to grasp breath and fresh air. We'll
figure out. We'll see who's going to be there that I can potentially pass the mic over. I know that Wesley Boswell keeps asking me to get on the mic every once in a while. So if Boswell's wrenching for anybody that weekend, maybe I'll pass the mic to him. But we'll find somebody to do play-by-play. Now,
Gotcha.
So again, Battle of the Brickyard. We're looking forward to that. July 5th, 6th, and 7th. The USAC karting crew putting that on. I obviously did a podcast with Mike Burrell. If you haven't listened to that, make sure you tune into that. Mike gave us a bunch of information on that event. But we're pretty excited, David. I know that you were talking to the guys from Comet Kart Sales. It's you and I, Gary Lawson and Mark Dismore hooking us up with a couple of Comet Eagle chassis with Briggs Power. I'm excited. We're going to be running in 206 Masters. Should be fun.
Yeah, I should have taken the photo. We had a seat fitting trackside Friday when Gary was asked us for our measurements, and I sent him my measurements, and he said, "There's no human being that's shaped like that." I said, "Yeah, I could." He's like, "You can't fit into a IMAF seat too." I said, "Yes, I can." He didn't believe me, and I did, but he found a different seat that he really wants us to use and get us out of the air because I'm tall. Yeah. You maybe not so much. Maybe you'll get you below the steering wheel because you're so short. But
it's going to be a lot of fun for sure. And again, that's those are the events, folks, that are coming up for the EKN Trackside Live Race Calendar. Again, brought to you today by Kart Republic and Kart Sport North America. David Cole heading to the WK Manufacturers Cup Series event as part of the Charlotte Karting Challenge this weekend in Concord. And I'll be at the Texas Pro Kart Challenge event in Amarillo on July 19, 20, and 21. All right, David Cole, let's wrap up this edition of the EKN Debrief brought to you by the Alan Rudolph Racing Academy. What is the wrap-up? Let's talk Constructors Championship breakdown for the weekend.
Well, this was probably one of the fewest brands we see win throughout the weekend on the year. Only 6 different chassis brands winning in the 14 main events that they had on the weekend. Tony Kart taking home half of them with 7 victories on the day or on the weekend. Kart Republic and Nitro Kart each earning 2, while Comp Kart, Xpree, and Cosmic each had 1 victory. So a big weekend for the OTK brand, which really stood out on the weekend.
Overall, let me ask you this question. Is there, just from where I sit, watching you at these races, reading your race reports, listening to Tim Coyne, as you said, is there an overall feel, is that a palpable kind of feel of momentum for the series right now?
Oh yeah, as we talked about in the paddock pass, that the less is more, and it allows people to be excited and follow and commit to all 3 events. So, we're, as you said, we're 66% of the way done So now you only have to focus on one more weekend to wrap up the series. So it definitely makes things a lot easier when you have only 3 weekends to focus on, because it again allows you to do other events, other series, other activities with your family and friends as well. So it's not just racing related that keeps people away from the racetrack.
All right, give us a little preview then of the next event, the rounds 5 and 6, the finale for the USPKS.
So yeah, the third event of the season and our championship finale will be held at the Newcastle Motorsports Park on July 26th through the 28th as they host the Hoosier Grand Prix in Newcastle, Indiana. And hopefully it should be another record turnout as we have a multitude of events running at Newcastle over the span of 3 weeks. So you have the USPKS program that will precede the Superkarts USA Great Lakes Pro Kart Challenge, and then after that is the SCUSA Pro Tour Summer Nationals. So 3 straight weekends of events at Newcastle, and the United States Pro Kart Series leads that off. And I really do think they could surpass if we do get all those special guests and spoilers to come in who want to get some testing done and just race big fields to be at Newcastle on July 26th through 28th.
Interesting thing, David, as well, is I think for all 3 of those programs, it's their finale race, right? I know it's the finale USPKS. I believe it's the finale for the SCUSA Great Lakes Pro Kart Challenge
correct.
As well. And then, so it's those 3 series, all their finale. So anybody in the championship battle is going to be there for all 3 events. It's going to be a good run at Newcastle Motorsports Park. You and I probably should have just rented a house for the month. I think that might have been a good idea.
Yeah. Or just stay at Mike Adams.
We could just stay at Mike's place. True enough.
We'll kick Garrett and Logan out. We'll just take over their bedrooms.
There you go. All right, David, thank you so much, buddy. I know that that was some heavy lifting for you, having to give us the full update and the full review, but bottom line
especially when I'm not 100%.
I can hear that. You're battling some allergies. You're battling, well, listen, the summer's almost here, and you know you're going to be battling allergies. You're bad that way.
Well, that's, the pollen up here has been terrible, so that didn't help. And catching a cold on top of that just made for a terrible, terrible weekend, and me being able to barely talk right now.
Well, stop talking. Don't talk for a while. You've got to get back at it. Of course, David Cole heading on Thursday morning, as we said, an 8 a.m. flight out of Grand Rapids. He is heading to Charlotte, North Carolina for the WKA Charlotte Karting Challenge. Again, big thanks to David for giving us the full update on the Carolina Grand Prix, the midway point of the USPKS series here in 2019. That event, again, done in the books. Championship set to go at Newcastle Motorsports Park at the end of July. Great numbers down in Mooresville. And as David said, predicting even better numbers of potential record turnout for the USPKS at Newcastle at the end of this next month. Thank you so much, folks, for tuning in to another edition of the EKN Debrief. It was number 49. When we get things wrapped up with the race at North Carolina for the WK, that'll be episode 50. We'll hit the half-century mark for the EKN Debrief here on the EKN Radio Network. One more reminder, if you like what we're doing, you can always listen to ekartingnews.com/radio. But the best bet, download the EKN Radio Network app to your mobile device. You can hear us anytime. The only 24/7, 365 karting radio station in the world. All our podcasts, all our EKN live coverage, and so much more coming here in 2019. Folks, on behalf of David Cole, my name's Rob Howden. Bye for now.